Welcome all my business leaders. I'm Terrell Curry, founder and managing partner at Infinite Business Strategies, and I'd like to thank you for joining our Business Turbo Boost Tip of the Week. And this week we'll be discussing 5 lines of questions that you should ask about your business processes. So the first question that we like to ask is, how do you know if your processes are efficient? Do you know what efficiency looks like? What is good? How do you compare to best in class? Those businesses that do similar things to what you do, how do you compare to how you do those same things? Do you know how to measure your efficiency? Believe it or not, there's industry standards on how to calculate your process cycle efficiency. And there's actually a table that outlines best in class and those that are leading the industry in those similar processes. How do you stack up? The second question is, are inefficiencies affecting your business? Believe it or not, we all have inefficiencies. We all have opportunities or room for improvement. But the inefficiencies within your processes, do you know how they're affecting your business? For instance, how do your customers view your inefficiencies? Or is there a cost of inefficiency? Now, believe it or not, we calculate cost of inefficiencies in many ways. Say, for instance, that you don't have standardization on how you produce an item or product or service. Is there any type of waste or rework or scrap that's done? Are your inefficiencies causing more time to complete a task or to complete a process? Do you have a loss of repeat customers? Or are you losing out on recommendations you could get because of these inefficiencies? Quick example, say I've done a lot of work at home, and I sometimes need to call others to do work in my home also. For instance, like I hate painting. I just hate all the prep work and everything that comes along with it. So normally when it's time to repaint, I hire someone. I bring someone in. Now, do I go and hire a big business? Not really. No, I like to help the smaller businesses out. So I normally go and try to find someone that is either a startup business or they have their own small business, and I want to give them a chance to earn my business. So I bring them in, have them give me a quote, but I always ask them a simple question. How long do you estimate this is going to take? And, of course, how much does it cost? But my time means something to me, right? Because you have to be there. I have to be here while you're working. I want to move everything out of the way, but how long do I want my life disrupted because of the work that you're doing? So that's important to me, right? But let's say you get someone in and they say it's going to take 2 or 3 days to paint, let's say 3 rooms in your house. And they come in on the first day and they're working and they're busy. I mean, you hear the radio playing in the background and you see them moving around. You hear things, and they're very meticulous in what they're doing when they're outlining the edges of the walls that they're painting. But then they go take a break for lunch and you go in the room where they've been working all morning and you see very little done. And they said it was going to take 2 to 3 days, but now 2 weeks later, you're still waiting. What's it going to cost you? If you're a small business owner, I'm not calling you back, right? More importantly, I'm not going to recommend you to someone else. So you have to understand that inefficiency in how you were painting or how you were doing your business is affecting you. But do you understand how your inefficiencies are affecting your business? The third question is, what does an inefficient process look like? I mean, we talked about inefficiencies and sometimes we see them, but I always tell people, I'm an engineer. I like to put things in terms of numbers because I understand the difference between 2 numbers, not necessarily the difference between good and bad unless I define those with numbers. But what does inefficiency actually look like? So let me give you an example. Have you ever been frustrated in a drive-through that you went to and you got so frustrated because because of your past, and you kind of see signs that things aren't going to go well? The line is just sitting there. I mean, it's called a drive-through, right? A drive-through, not a sit and wait. I hate to sit and wait. Waiting for me is a waste of my time. I like for everything to flow. So I get there to this restaurant because my wife wanted some food from this particular establishment. And I know they have a history of being very slow in their drive-through. So after the first 10 minutes of a car not moving, I get frustrated and I leave without even getting any food. The reason that I went there. That inefficiency is kind of the definition of what I look at inefficiencies like. It's like me sitting in a drive-through and waiting so long I have to turn the car off or put the car in park. There are inefficient processes that allows them not to move at a steady pace is something that frustrates me as a customer. So that brings us to the next question is, what does an efficient process look like? So just like an inefficient process, an efficient process is just the opposite, right? Conversely to our previous example, have you been in a drive-through with a long line during lunch hour? You have only a limited amount of time. You got to get in there and get out, right? You've got a meeting coming up and you don't have time to wait. So this is long line, but this restaurant has a reputation of being very efficient. And what I mean by efficient is even though they have a long line, it seems like you never really waited. Every position is moving along the way. And not only is it moving, while you wait, something's happening at that station that you're waiting at. I haven't even gotten up to the window yet, and I've had someone already take my order. They walked up to my car and they took my order before I got to the little speaker to order my food. And before I get to the window, I've had the other stations where they gave me my condiments, they gave me napkins, they gave me my drink. When I get to the actual window where in that previous establishment that was inefficient, I did everything at that one window. At this establishment, they hand me my food as I'm driving up. I never even wait. So even though I went through the process and it was a long process, it was efficient. That's what efficiency looks like. So listen, those efficiencies just don't happen on their own, right? There's a lot of thought process that goes into every step of the process. I mean, you think about it, someone actually went through every step of that process and evaluated whether it was value added or not. What I mean by value added means I don't feel as a customer that I'm wasting my time at that particular step. Like I mentioned, I stood in line or I advanced in line and something happened that I thought was value added. So I felt like I didn't wait. I mean, you think about it, think of your favorite amusement park and think of the advances that have happened now. You ever heard of that Fast Pass where you go in and you get a little ticket that says, hey, it's going to be an hour late, come back at this time and we'll get you right in. Now, I can either get that ticket, go and do other things at my own time. To me, I love cotton candy. So let's say I went and got some cotton candy and a drink and I went and played a couple of the games where I'm shooting some basketball or something else. And all of a sudden, I have 5 minutes left till I'm supposed to be back at this ride. I go there, they get me right in. Now, did I wait for an hour? Well, yeah, I did. I waited for an hour, but it was on my time, which I deemed efficient because I was doing other things. Instead of me standing in line and moving 2 feet a minute and looking at the sign saying 30 minutes from this point, 15 minutes from this point, 10 minutes from this point. So in my mind, it was the illusion of efficiency. You can make efficiency out of something that doesn't seem to be too efficient. You just have to evaluate it. And that's what these companies do. They go through a process of doing that. So that brings us to our last set of questions. And this is around a kind of a concept, right? Have you ever understood the term time is money? I mean, you think about that. Time literally isn't a dollar. Like I can't say a minute went by, that's worth $1. But my time to me is money. And most people get paid off of the time that they spend towards something. So you think about it, when I talk about time, I talk about the total lead time of a process. Us process gurus, we put things into terms we can measure. So I look at the time of a process or the total time of the process. That is the time it takes to complete the entire process. Listen, that includes the time included for waiting. So if I'm waiting, that's part of my total time. If I have to double check something because I don't have standardized processes or I have errors that can happen in my process, that time it takes me to double check or inspect something is part of that time. Also, the time it takes to fix something, the things that weren't done right the first time, that's part of that total time. Don't you pay workers for their time? So why pay for the time that has no value? That's where the term time is money comes from. So I always ask the question, how do you make things easy to do right and hard to do wrong? That's how you make processes efficiency. That's how you build value in the time that's left over in your total lead time. Listen, there's a reason why best-in-class companies spend time making their processes efficient. They realize the value in an efficient process. They convert that to a dollar figure. Just like in your business, you started this business Why? Because you wanted to do something, provide a service or provide a product, but you wanted to charge and make some type of profit off of that, right? So if you have an efficient process and you have something or something you can go through to make you more profitable, why not do it? And building process efficiency does just that. You reduce scrap, you reduce lead time, you reduce waste, you standardize processes, you make things easier to do. So here at Infinite Business Strategies, we can help. We always say, you may not be the process expert. You might not be the expert at all, but you just have to know the expert. And that's where we can help. So we encourage you, schedule a free one-on-one consultation. You can go to the bottom of my website and you can click on that link that says schedule a free consultation and let us talk to you about how we may be able to help you make your processes more efficient, to take your business to the next level. Or you can join one of our hosted strategy workshops today, where you actually come in and we help walk you through the step-by-step process to build a strategy to improve your processes and take your business to the next level. Or maybe you're a little more mature. You have a larger establishment. You have some of those things in place. But I always tell people my job is to meet you your maturity level and take you to that next position. So have us come to your facility and do an on-site maturity assessment and improvement workshop to help you get to that next level you're striving for. So I'd like to thank you for your time. This has been another Infinite Business Strategies Business Turbo Boost Tip of the Week, and I thank you.